Hi, let's talk about mom overwhelm and stress, right? Let's talk about not living that way anymore. I don't know about you, but I used to live every day as a mom feeling very stressed and overwhelmed and not knowing how to make a difference. And then I put some systems in place in my life that made a difference and allowed me to, number one, not feel stressed all the time, but number two, even have time to do some things that I enjoy, like those crafts and DIY that I love doing. And I'm going to show you one of the things, one of those systems today. It starts with a calendar or a planner, but then you need to add in these mom to-do lists that I offer on my site that you can download and print out. And I'm going to show you how to use them today so you can be the mom boss that you know you were meant to be. All right, so to show you how to use these mom to-do lists, what you're going to need is some kind of paper. You might want some sticky notes, a pen, and you're going to want a planner along with the mom to-do list that you can get on my site at realcoke.com, and you just log in and get them for free. The first thing that you are going to do, you're going to grab a piece of paper and you're just going to do a solid just brain dump. You're going to write out everything that you know of that you need to get done that is weighing on your mind. And that's one of the really important parts about this, is that so often we're walking around with these massive to-do lists in our minds, but we're never releasing those anywhere. And sometimes it's stuff that doesn't really even need to happen, but we need to write it down to get it out of our brain and out of that loop. I wrote down everything that was on my mind. Now it's time to take this and then take my calendar and begin to map things out. And I use my phone as my calendar, and so I would have my phone here and I would look at the week to come. All right, so I'm going to start looking over here at my brain dump and saying, okay, what are the most critical things that have to get done this week? And I didn't write this out, but let's say I know I've got on Monday, I've got a doctor's appointment. On Tuesday, there's a theater run through that parents have to be at. And Wednesday, I volunteer at the school. And in and amongst that, I've got to work, plus feed everybody, plus get laundry done. So those are pretty busy days, and I'm going to use that as my judgment for how much I can actually do, and I'm going to be really realistic about it versus just putting a whole bunch of stuff in there knowing that I'm not going to be able to get to it because I've got all this other stuff going on and I've got a business to run at the same time, or I've got to show up for work like most people do. So we're going to take care of that. So first of all, I'm going to look at this and I'm like, okay, getting cupcakes for this birthday party has to happen because the birthday party is going to happen whether I am prepared or not. So, and that's going to be on this Saturday, the 7th. So I've pre-written in here just to make it faster and neater, that I'm going to get the cupcakes for the party on the night of the 6th once I'm done with work. Another thing that I have to do, as I said, on Tuesday, I've got a theater run through. So I know I've got to pay those theater fees for this year. So I've written that on the 3rd. And you notice as I'm doing this, I'm just crossing a line through it and moving on to what else can I fit in. Now, the water bill is another thing that is time sensitive and has to happen. And I generally sit down and look at money and bills on Saturday, so I wrote paying the water bill on there. All right, and so then what I'm going to do is I have some standard things that happen each week, and I talk more about this and how this creates some more systems and peace in your life as a mom. But I have some things that I know I do on certain days of the week, so I want to fill those in before I put any more to-dos in here to see if I have time. So on Mondays, I do our towels laundry. And on, let's see, what is this? Thursday, I'm going to do a load of dark laundry and I'm going to plan my meals for the week ahead. And that allows me to get my grocery list done before I go grocery shopping. And then on Friday, I'm going to do some light laundry. Saturday, I'm going to go grocery shopping. And this is something I'll show you in just a second. Then On Sunday, I'm going to do the sheets laundry and I'm going to make the beds. And again, something else I talk about in my Real Organized email class is I'm going to visit my mom office to get myself organized and prepped for the week ahead, which is part of the systems I teach in that class. So the next thing that we're going to do then is look at, oftentimes in life, we have some of these recurring tasks that have to happen like on a weekly basis, maybe a monthly basis, maybe every 6 months. But as a busy mom, those things are so stinking easy to forget. And so these mom to-do lists help you tremendously with that. So for example, we have a Roomba, and because we have dogs, the filter is supposed to get cleaned once a week. So I have that on Saturday to clean the Roomba filter. And we also have a fish tank, and that has to get cleaned every other week. I do a 10% water change on it. So I'm adding that in. Now, as I look at this, and I actually did this a little backwards, I actually recommend that you've put down your standard things first, use your calendar, and then begin to plug in some of your items on your brain dump list. But looking at this and knowing the things that are on my calendar for this week, I know this is all I can get done. And I realize that when you look at this, it may look like I did not get much of that brain dump done. But the thing we have to remember, number one, is steps forward are still steps forward, even if they're tiny little steps. It doesn't matter. I got some of and I looked and I figured out what was the most important stuff on this brain dump, and it is now taken care of and the most time sensitive. So I'm going to flip to the next week, and I'm going to do this same thing. First, I'm going to start by putting in the things that have to happen. My towels laundry, my jeans laundry, planning meals, dark laundry, grocery shopping, and sheets laundry. Just as examples, okay? And I'm going to go back to my list now. And maybe I don't have as much stuff going on, but there's still a few things sprinkled in there, plus work, and of course feeding everybody and running them around to all the various different things they do, right? Or picking them up. So, but I realize, okay, this doctor appointment for me for the girls is kind of important. They need this. So I'm going to get that set up. And then on Tuesday, I'm already going to be running around. I see that on my calendar. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop by the bank and deposit the Girl Scout money. And you see, by being able to look at the calendar and my to-do list and mesh that with my brain dump, I'm being efficient with my time also, because I see that I am running around on this day and I can easily make it work. It wasn't something that had to happen the week before. Okay? And then there's a note here that I need to RSVP for a party by this date, and I have it on my to-do list so that it does not get forgotten. And then I had these class forms. It's the beginning of the school year in this scenario, and there's those 9 million class forms and things you have to sign out. And they're due by the end of this week for my girls. And so it was fine for me to hold off and wait a little bit, but now I've really got to get that done. And then I also had cleaning out the game cabinet because it is overflowing and like in the middle of the living room now. And so that really needs to happen, but that's something I don't have time for on a weekday. So I've put that on Saturday to clean out that game cabinet, and I'm going to cross that one off. Okay, and what's left is setting up dance lessons, which honestly was one of those brain dump things that somebody mentioned in passing, but it wasn't a for sure. It was just like, maybe we should look into this. And that doesn't mean that it's gone and it's not going to happen, but it wasn't something that was urgent, but it was floating around in my mind, bugging me. So writing it down got it done in a way, right? And setting up an eye doctor appointment for me. I don't really have to go for another month, but you know how you got to set it up ahead. So I can still hold off on that one. Hopefully next week I'll be able to take care of that. All right, then the other part of this that I want to show you is these recurring tasks. We talked about cleaning the Roomba filter, and that has to happen every week. So that would get written here. Every time when I check off, okay, I cleaned the fish filter, I know I need to do that in 2 weeks. I'm going to pull forward 2 weeks and write it down. And that way, these recurring things that happen in our lives don't get forgotten. Our water bills, they do not offer an e-bill, which is really annoying, and the bills only come every other month. Again, it makes it hard to remember. So that what I do with that one then is I use one of my sticky notes. Well, in this case, actually, I'm sorry. That would be September. So in November, I need to remember to, around November 7th, to pay that water bill. So I'm going to flip to November, and I'm going to pick the Saturday because I know that's when I pay bills, and I'm going to write a pay water bill because I just finished that one, and it marks that one done. Okay? And so by doing that, in November, I'm going to remember, water bill is due. I was never going to remember that otherwise. Let me just be honest about that, okay? You see here on the 4th, I wrote down that I need to change the fridge filter. Well, that's one of those things that, again, you know, they recommend that you do it every 6 months, and we're really heavy water drinkers, so for us it makes sense. But in 6 months, am I ever going to remember that that fridge filter needs to be changed? No, let's just be honest, okay? So again, I want to write that, but 6 months from now is March, and my calendar doesn't go to March. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these sticky notes, and I'm just going to write on it that on March 4th of 2020, I need to change the fridge filter. And I'm going to flip to the back of my planner, and I'm just going to add that sticky note right there. And once I get my 2020 planner, this will be put right there on those mom to-do lists, and it will not get forgotten that way. And by visiting my mom office once a week, I'm also going to make sure to keep up with all of this. And I have to say, keeping up with this makes it so much easier to keep up with life and to get stuff done and to make it work within your schedule. And that to me is the beauty of these, plus meshing it with your calendar. All right. And to get your mom to-do lists, like I said, go ahead on over to realcoke.com. You can join my member program, and it's in the sidebar of my website or down at the bottom if you're on mobile. And once you sign up, you'll get an email that has the information about where to snag this month's mom to-do lists. And that's all you have to do.